Hey y'all, it's Stephie and welcome back to my channel. So today we're going to be doing a Q&A, or as we like to call it here on the channel, an Ask Stephie. As you can see, Juicy's here. She is having a moment, so we're just going to go with it because, you know, we gotta go. We gotta get some stuff done. So over on Instagram, I asked you guys to send me in some questions, and I really appreciate those of y'all who did so, especially those who sent over some more like fun questions. It's kind of been I say it all the time, but you know, it's been a few weeks. Like, work has just been very intense, and hopefully I'll be able to, you know, share more about that stuff in the future. But needless to say, I'm a little bit like, my brain is a little bit burned at the moment, burnt out. So having some fun questions, just kind of like, you know, non-technical type questions is always kind of fun, just to help me relax. So anyways, let's go ahead and jump right into it. I'm gonna go ahead and pull up the questions on Instagram. A couple questions from y'all about how and what do I do to decompress? What are your de-stress go-to tricks during busy times? There are a few things that I do consistently to help me with my stress and my stress management. I've talked about dealing and managing stress a few times on my channel, so I'll link those in the description box for you guys. I will say though that when I was in public accounting, I didn't have very good like stress management habits. I was more of the mindset, and I felt like that was what was needed, was like go, 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 just push through it, push through it. Unfortunately, I feel like that's kind of the culture, especially in public accounting, just the nature of the work, high turnover environment, and I'm speaking more of like big four and mid-tier. Most of us who are in the actual, you know, who have been in public accounting, especially with bigger firms, you can be busy pretty much year-round for the most part. And yeah, anyway, so I'm just saying that because some of my managing stress videos back in the day, I was pretty stressed anyways. So, and I even said, y'all, I'm not really good at giving that advice. So anyways, just wanted to kind of share that background. But now what I do, and I do very consistently, is I work out. I am so grateful that I have my home gym that I've set up, Mike and I have set up together. And that is something I do consistently, at least 3 times a week, where I'm lifting, and that helps me with my stress. I like to do my workouts usually during lunch or during a midday break or something like that. It helps to re-energize me. I typically start my work days pretty early, catching up on my emails around 5:45, 6 o'clock in the morning. My work days are they're fairly long because of my workload. So having a little break in the middle of the day is so key for me to like refocus my mind, kind of get out of like, sometimes I get, you know, you can kind of get stuck in something, and just taking a step back from it and, you know, clearing your mind for a second and then coming back to it. Sometimes you can be a lot more refreshed and tackle it a lot more efficiently than if you're just trying to push through like this burnout or whatever's going on. Some weeks where I miss getting to do those full workouts because they take me about an hour and 15 minutes. So something that I have been trying to do more consistently, and that brings me a lot of joy, is I jump rope. And sometimes it's only like 10 minutes out of the day, 10-15 minutes. It's not very long, but you know, I'll like practice doing tricks or something like that. So for me, that's something that really helps me de-stress. I think you just have to find something that brings you joy and gets you out of like, you know, just kind of gets you out of whatever it is that you're stressing about, especially if it's work related. Little things you can do throughout the day. I know it sounds kind of cheesy, but like literally step back and take a deep breath. Just take a few minutes to just calm yourself down. I know I can get kind of worked up, especially with, you know, deadlines and having a high stress job and stuff like that. It's good to like take a step back, take a few deep breaths, allow your mind to like relax and chill and stop being stimulated all the time. And so that's something I'm trying to incorporate a little bit more into my routine, and just take a little time. It doesn't have to be long. I'm not saying y'all do this for like, you know, a day or an hour or something, but even if it's like 5-10 minutes of just decompressing for a moment, I think that can do a lot. Like, that does wonders for me. Okay, I've been on that topic for like way too long. What planner do you use? My planner's from Cloth and Paper. It's a separate like agenda cover. I don't think that she makes that one anymore, that blush color one. Y'all know, like blush and kind of pink, rose, and stuff like that is very much one of my favorite colors, along with gray, as you can see. So I have that, and then the inserts are also Cloth and Paper, and I really like her. So I do have a video kind of talking about my whole planner setup, so I'll link that in the cards for you guys, for those of you who are interested. It's pretty much the same thing that I use now. A couple questions about like the food that I've been sharing on Instagram. So one of them, I had shared an air fryer salmon. That was actually my first time cooking salmon, and I used the air fryer. So it was fresh salmon from Trader Joe's. It was really good. Slather it with a little bit of olive oil, and then I just put some lemon pepper seasoning and I think salt and pepper and garlic or whatnot, like different seasonings on it. Kind of rub that in. Maybe I should just do a video on like some of our go-to meals. What's Mike been up to? So he has been working. If you can't tell, both of us are, I don't know if you would describe us as workaholics, but we're very hard workers. I think that's just how we have both, like, we grew up that way, and that's kind of just how our mentality is with work. We just, yeah. So maybe slight workaholics, not that we want to work, but our work ethic is that if there is work to do, we're gonna do it kind of thing. It's hard to like kind of cut that off sometimes. We've been doing better, but yeah, anyways. I don't think I've told you guys this. Did I tell you guys recently? So he has kind of moved to a different position in his company. He is now on the quality assurance side of his pest control company, or the pest control company that he works for. So it's kind of funny because we both are now we both do like audit type things. And it's just funny because, you know, I'm in the accounting finance side and he's doing it for his companies, like pest control operations and stuff like that. So he moved into that role. He's been doing that for about almost a year now. So that's been really great for him, for his career as well. And, you know, something that I'm very proud of him, because he's someone who is a very hard worker. He didn't go to college. His hard work was recognized, and he is having opportunities. I think with the right company, he was able to get these types of opportunities. So very proud of him. So he does that. Also, you know, with all this like quarantine and stuff like that that's been going on, he started his own kind of like hobby / side business. That's kind of become more of like a side business now. Buys and sells basically sports trading cards. So that's something he's very interested in. He goes to card shows and things like that. So if you guys are interested in that or have a interest in any of that, you know, Mills Mojo, check him out on Instagram. He makes break packs. Basically, it's like a pack of, you know, a certain number of cards. You're gonna get the value of what you pay for, but you can often get stuff that is more than what you pay for. So like, you know, really good cards. There are hits like these really nice like graded cards, meaning that they're more valuable because they've gone to like a third party who has said what the condition of it is and everything like that. And his packaging is like very nice, very high quality. Presentation is on point. So as you can tell, I'm a very proud wife. So if you're interested in that type of stuff, you know, he does go to the card shows here, the Dallas card shows here whenever they have them. He always sells out. So if you guys are interested, or your husbands are interested in that kind of thing, you know, definitely check out his Instagram, Mills Mojo, you know, because #GotMojo. So yeah, that's what he's been up to. How do you get an entry-level accounting job without an accounting degree and no experience? In that instance, I would look for some kind of bookkeeping job, or AP, Accounts Payable, or Accounts Receivable, or billing. Those are all still functions within the accounting department, but it at least gets your foot in the door. It's just more specific to those types of, you know, roles. For example, if you go into Accounts Payable, which is the department that handles payments to vendors for like services or supplies and stuff like that, so you're a part of that company's that part of the process. Accounts Receivable is, you know, you guys getting money from your customers, billing them, doing collections and stuff like that. So those are still under the accounting umbrella. You just won't, you know, you may have very small exposure to accounting things like journal entries, but I think to get your foot in the door, AP or AR would be the best, and that way you can gain experience in your company, and then you can move, you know, transfer over to the accounting department. Typically what I see for large companies, if you're going into accounting, they are wanting some type of degree, like on the general ledger side, but you can find a lot of smaller companies that, you know, potentially could use a bookkeeper, AP or AR. So that's what I would do, you know, just do your research, try to look at the various companies in your area and see what openings they have there. Tips for training a new staff who's very needy and isn't catching on during busy season. First, going at it with the mindset of treat them the way you wish you had been treated as a staff. I think many of us have had poor seniors and supervisors, and so just try to keep in mind that at one point in time that was you, so treat them in the way that you wish you had been treated. Just know that that's part of the job, so you're going to need to try to carve out time for that. And every person is different. Like, every person learns differently, catches on faster or slower. If it is something that is taking time, a ton of time out of your day, and is distracting you because like you're having to stop and start and stop and start constantly throughout the day, I'd recommend like setting up specific like touch points during the day with that person, whatever the frequency is, whether it's once a day, a couple times during the day, 2-3 different times during the day. Set aside time for you guys to go over their questions so that you have time to also focus on the work that you need to get done. And of course, just being clear about that. Here are your 5 areas that you need to work on. Go ahead and try to get through as much as you can. Get your questions together. On one of them, move to the next one, do the same thing, and then we'll meet and go over your questions. That way, you're kind of setting boundaries so that you also can get some work done. That would be helpful on the needy part. As far as like, if they're not catching on, something you're having to go over several times, try to just bluntly or straightforward ask them, we've gone over this particular topic a few times now, and I notice the same questions are coming up. I really want to help you. Is there something that I'm explaining that isn't making sense? Are you taking notes? It's something that I find helpful is taking notes so that I can refer back to it. Not everyone is like that, so I'm not saying just because you don't succeed in developing that person that is your fault, but I do think that putting forth all the effort that you can, oftentimes a lot of people don't give that straightforward feedback or ask that stuff straightforward. Being someone who supervises others does definitely take patience. It's a balancing act because you're supervising people and you're also trying to get your own work done. I know that it's definitely a struggle, but I hope those tips helped. Oh, this is a fun one. Thank you. Your 3 favorite episodes of The Office. That's so funny. I actually started watching The Office again on Peacock. I had watched Modern Family. Anyways, so for The Office, I would have to say where they do the commercial. That one is one of my favorites. I have so many that are my favorites. That one brings me so much joy. I could just watch that one over and over and over again. I love that one. I love the company picnic. That one I love so much. It makes me laugh so much. I love the one when Pam was first pregnant and they're doing Ultra Feast and everything. That one's another one of my favorites. A lot of them, obviously a lot of them have Michael Scott in them. But I still think they could have continued the show if they really wanted to without him for a little bit longer. But those are my favorite ones. The reason I think I don't like the later seasons is, sorry if I break this up to you, the dynamic between Pam and Jim. Ooh. Y'all, see, I can get emotional so fast just thinking about it. It's tough to watch, like, the last few seasons. No spoilers or anything, but, obviously every couple goes through shit, so that one's tough to watch, though, because I think, like, The Office is kind of like what I go to feel good and stuff like that. So those ones are kind of tough, but at least they're kind of short. So, and it resolves itself. So it's fine. Anyways, okay, let's get off that topic. Do you think the next step from AR job is AP or better move right to junior accountant? I think a couple things there. If you want to be like in accounting, then yes, the next move should be probably to like an entry-level accounting job. However, if you are in AR, you could move yourself up within that particular part of accounting. In that particular like part of accounting, there's accounts receivable, which you're in, there's billing, there's cash application. So there are different like areas of focus that you could kind of look at within that part of accounting. You can also move up in that. You could, be an accounts receivable specialist. Next, you could be an AR manager. then you could move up to like, or you can move up to like a revenue manager, which is someone who is over like I said, accounts receivable, billing, cash collections, cash applications. So there is a structure there for you to move up in. While it is still part of accounting, it's a little bit more of like the operational side of accounting. But if you are more interested in pursuing like a true accounting position, then yes, move over to like an entry-level accounting job. However, I will caution you guys though, if you don't have a degree in accounting, it's very hard to move up further past, an entry-level accountant, maybe a senior accountant, but anything further than that, depending on the company that you're with, like if you moved up within your company and you had a boss that, saw your talents and everything like that, typically you can move up maybe to a senior accountant without potentially a degree. I would be very cautious about that though, if you want to, of course. But if you want to move up in your career in accounting, then it's very important to get a degree. So at minimum, a bachelor's degree. Otherwise, there would be a limit to where you could move up to in your career. In accounting specifically, but on like accounts receivable, revenue side, that side, I don't really think you even really need an accounting degree. It's not really necessary. I don't even know if you need a degree per se. I've seen people move up knowing the operations and stuff like that of billing, collections, accounts receivable, cash applications, stuff like that. Same thing with the AP side. You don't necessarily need a degree in that from what I've seen. If you can get your foot in the door, you can move your way up. Just a few things to think about. Where do you shop for clothes? I love your style. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Most of where I shop is ASOS, which is a UK-based like online shop. They have a bunch of different brands from UK, a lot of European brands that are affordable. They also do carry some American brands, funny enough, like Abercrombie is one of them, which I was like, that's kind of interesting. But don't get me wrong though, now recently I have been loving Abercrombie. Like their style has definitely been more elevated and not so like, at least the stuff that I look at, like the jeans and the bodysuits, there is more elevated, like casual chic, which I like. It's not so much like beachy, vibes. I like shopping at Nordstrom just because they have a variety of brands. Like this top is one of the brands, and then I always find stuff on sale though. Like it can be kind of pricey, and I just can't buy like a blouse for $80 or something like that. Like it's not for me. I think kind of my limit for blouses is about, depending on what it is and if I'm in love with it or not, $40 at most. $40, $50 is probably the price point when it comes to blouses for me. So there are certain things I just won't spend a lot of money on. If I can find something in the 20 to 25 price range, that is usually like I'll usually jump at that. Next question is around the CPA exam. A few questions I kind of sent at the same time. So does the CPA take 3 years to complete? How much does the CPA exam cost? I don't actually know how long CPA takes and why the process is to do it. Please help. Technically, no. I'm gonna share some videos down in the description box of people I know who have taken the CPA exam, more recently than I have. I took the CPA exam I took the CPA exam in 2012 when I passed it. I started my journey in 2011, after college. So really, the CPA exam can take you as little as 6 months potentially, including study time. A few things to keep in mind for the CPA. So you have to be CPA exam eligible. Each state is gonna have slightly different, some of them are similar, slightly different requirements because when you take the exam, it's through the state board. So for Texas, for example, it requires minimum of 150 credit hours, plus a certain number of those hours have to be related to business, accounting at certain levels, like higher level accounting classes, business communication, and ethics class. So everything is going to be very particular to the state that you go to. Once you become CPA eligible, CPA exam eligible, you have to submit an application of intent to take the CPA exam. I don't know how long that takes to get your results back because they're going to have to review your eligibility and things like that. So once the state board does that. I think it took maybe a couple months. I don't know how it is now with COVID and everything. You get a notice to schedule, and then at that point, it's really up to you on how long the CPA exam is going to take you. You know, I knew people, some people from, you know, other colleges graduated in May. They took the entire summer off, and when they started in September, they were done with their CPA exam. So that's what, May, June, July, August, September, so it's like 4 months, basically. So you can do it in as little as 4 months. It's very, it's challenging, I'm not gonna lie, because it's a lot of material to get through, but it's definitely possible. The only thing to keep in mind, once you pass one of the exams, there is like a time frame of when you need to pass the rest of them. I don't recall, I think it's 2 years, but basically if you passed one section today, you have 2 years to do that, to pass the other ones. Otherwise, the one that you passed goes away and you have to retake it. So you have to keep that in mind as well. My personal journey started the process for the CPA exam in 2011 when I started working for the Big Four firm. I was not serious about it, so I took CPA exams. I actually took FAR twice and BEC once. All of them I failed. All of them I was not prepared for, and I was not serious about it. So that was a waste of money. I don't recall the prices. I'll have them listed here on the screen, but it's a waste of your damn money, honey. So don't do that, because every time you schedule an exam, it is a waste of your damn money if you are not going into it 100% committed, and you know what I'm saying? So that, and then also like the materials are expensive too. I honestly don't remember how much the materials were, because my firm provided me with Becker, which is amazing. That's definitely one of the biggest perks of going into public accounting, and especially the Big Four. They pay for Becker for you. Keep in mind that the Becker software has a time frame on it too. I think 2 to 3 years or something like that. So in those terms, there's some time limits. When I actually became serious about taking the CPA exam and passing it, I took it in 4.5 months, and that's how I passed it. But again, I had to be very, very serious, very focused. I had nothing else in my life going on except for work and studying. Mike was very supportive of that for 4.5 months. So that's the only way I was able to get it done. I'll definitely leave some more information in the description box for you guys, and some of, you know, other people in the accounting community here on YouTube who can speak to it more recently. A few questions from fellow Filipinas. If you don't know, I am a Filipina American. I am 99% Filipina and like 0.5% Chinese, 0.5% Spanish, something like that. If you can't tell, I took a 23andMe test. So, but I was born and raised here in the US. Have you ever visited the Philippines? If so, what's your fave memory from it? So I've only visited the Philippines once. I definitely want to go back as an adult. I went there when I was like 2 or 3 years old, so I don't have many memories from it. The only one, and I think because it was traumatic, my family, they live like in the barrio, so, you know, basically the countryside villages, and the only memory I have is of a goat chasing me, and it was a baby goat. You know, it wasn't a big old goat, it was like a baby goat. So I was holding like a tree branch, feeding it the leaves or whatever, and I don't know why, maybe I was spooked, maybe I was just trying to walk away. I was walking away with this branch in my hand, and the goat was obviously following me and then chasing me. So yeah, that was not the greatest memory, but I definitely want to go. Mike and I both want to go. We've talked about it many times. Another one of y'all, so hi, I'm a Filipina CPA, hello, and I've been a silent follower / subscriber. Can you speak Tagalog? Unfortunately, no, I can't speak Tagalog well at all. I know very few words. Actually, my mom told me that I spoke fluent Tagalog when I was younger, you know, before I was 5 years old. And then she was at the time a single mom and a nurse, so she worked a lot, so she sent us to daycare where they only spoke English to us, and all of that has left my brain. So no, unfortunately, I don't speak a lot of Tagalog. I can say things like maraming salamat, mahal kita. One thing I say all the time is ay nako. So yeah, I mean, there's a few words that I know. I can't speak it fluently. It's one of my goals to be able to do that. I need to continue working on it with like Duolingo, because I would love to be able to speak Tagalog. And this is another topic, I can talk about it more because it's a long video, but I guess needless to say, like growing up in the US as someone who, I grew up in Texas, so a lot of what I saw around me was, as a young person, when you don't have that much self-confidence or self-esteem and you want to feel like you fit in somewhere, I didn't really get to, I wasn't around a lot of Filipinos consistently. It's just our immediate family, so my parents, and we didn't speak, they spoke Tagalog to each other, but she didn't speak Tagalog to me because she knew I couldn't understand it. So there's definitely like some, I feel like I missed out on some of that, like as I was growing up, being more immersed in Filipino culture and customs and stuff like that. I wish I had been. Now that I'm in my early 30s now, I really missed out on that. So now I'm trying, over my adult life, I've been trying to, catch up on that. I can understand some of it. I can piece things together. So when my mom wants to, how Filipino moms do, when she wants to talk about someone or something, secretively, she'll speak to me in Tagalog and I'll be able to catch bits and pieces so I can put it together. But yeah, it's definitely part of what I want to be able to speak more fluently and to understand more. But as of right now, no, I don't speak that much. Asked, do you still have your brows microbladed? So yes, they are still microbladed. I'll insert a little clip here for you guys to see it. I actually have not gotten them touched up in 2 years now. They are still microbladed. They have just faded quite a bit, but not to the point where I feel like I have to fill them in every single day. In the clip, I had no brow stuff in there. It's just, I had done my makeup for the video for you guys, but nothing in my brows. Right now, I do have some boy brow from Glossier in there just to kind of like keep them a little bit tidy, but they're still microbladed. I do plan on getting them touched up eventually, just not a big priority for me. I'm just gonna do a few more questions because this video is gonna be super long, so I apologize if I didn't get to your question. If you have more that you'd like me to do another Q&A with you guys, leave them in the comments below. I kind of like these because it just feels like I'm, chatting with you guys, so it's fun. Do you see yourself living in Texas for the rest of your life? If you were to move, where would it be? I do think long term, yes, I love Texas. The only thing I don't like is how freaking hot it gets during the summer. But otherwise, I love Texas. I love the people. And I just love Texas, period. There's a lot to love about Texas. There's definitely a lot that can be improved as well, but I love Texas. I was born in California and I grew up there for the first 2 years of my life. Everything other than that, I've lived basically in Texas, except for a short 4-year period in my teens when I was in between California and Florida. Now that I've gotten an opportunity to travel in the past, handful of years, I have had thoughts about wanting to move elsewhere just to try it, I've thought about there's opportunities potentially maybe for me to live abroad. Obviously, if Mike will come with me, that would be fun just to give it a try for a couple years. That would be really cool if I could do that in the UK at some point in time. Preferably the UK because, it would be very hard, I feel like, if I went to a country with a different language, which gave me so much empathy when I started traveling for people who come here. I already felt like I was sympathetic to people, obviously because my family comes from the Philippines, so they don't, English is not their native language. And so I definitely felt like I felt for them, but until you actually are in a situation and you can put yourself in someone else's shoes, that's when you gain empathy. So I definitely can empathize now, when people come here from other countries and can't speak English. It's so difficult, and especially if there are people who are intolerant or not patient, it's very hard. So that's why I would probably lean more towards the UK if I were to go and do something like that abroad. But of course, if I had other opportunities, I would take them because, you gotta seize those opportunities. Otherwise, we've played around with ideas of getting property in New Hampshire. Mike was born in Texas, but he grew up in New Hampshire and then came back to Texas. It's beautiful up in New Hampshire. I love it up there. It's very, relaxing, and I love being in the trees and nature and everything. Like I've never been like that type of person, but being surrounded by it, like that being your surroundings is something is very calming about it. So I love that. I don't know how I would do with the winters though. Alaska showed me anything, I don't think I like it. So that would be tough, but those are the only things we've thought about. But I think ultimately we would always end up being in Texas because we love Texas and that's, my family's here. So, and Mike's family's here. So how did you get into working out? Are you dieting as well? Got into working out. I've always had kind of like a love for working out ever since I was in college. I didn't go to a traditional high school. So, I went to junior high. So in junior high, we had PE class. I played volleyball when I was in junior high, so I liked that. My high school years didn't really have that, so not much there. But then when I went to college, you do like a fitness class as one of the basics. And that's kind of when it started back up again. So ever since I was in college, I enjoyed working out. I didn't know what I was doing necessarily, but I liked moving my body, The professional world, working at the Big Four, that went out the window because ain't nobody got time for that. Then I went into my first industry job and there was a gym right across the street from our office. So me and a couple of my gal pals from work, we would go there and we would take yoga, we would do bar class, we would do boot camp and stuff like that. And I think that's when I was really started to become interested in fitness, working out, more so with like how it made me feel. I felt so like happy afterwards, the endorphins and everything. And then obviously my job being in being in the accounting field and audit, it's very sedentary. So I needed that like movement, So that's kind of when it all started. I kind of like went here and there with really liking yoga at first, and then I started getting into like strength training, where I followed YouTubers back in the day for like, Nikki Blacketer, Buff Bunny, and things like that, where they would share their workouts, and Whitney Simmons. So over the years, I kind of like got ideas of what to do from them, and I did that at the gym for a while. And then it wasn't until, I think partially too, because then you see like their body yada yada, and then you're like, oh, I want to have like a body yada yada like that. That's my younger mentality and everything. Now I work out because I want, obviously that the aesthetic stuff will come with it. But I more so want to do things that are functionally will help me in life. Being strong enough to carry my own damn groceries, like one trip, because ain't nobody got time for more than one trip. Lifting my suitcase, helping move furniture, doing stuff like that, picking up heavy packages, things like that, bending over, picking up juicy like 25, 30, 50 times a day. Those are the things that that's why I work out, because I need that to help me with make me more able with my everyday life. So I hired a personal trainer back in July of 2019 for like a 6 to 8 week program. We were in the gym together, so she showed me stuff. And I think that was such a great investment because it helped me learn like form basics. You can kind of like learn about it from watching people and reading stuff, but I feel like, it's nice to have someone correct your form right then and there. If you have friends who can do that, that's great. But for me, I just, personal trainer was what worked out best for me. So I did that, worked out by myself for probably a good year or so, saw good results, was really happy with it. And then it wasn't until, lockdown and everything like that happened where I started doing virtual training with that personal trainer as well. And that was an incredible investment as well, because prior to, having my home gym, I never used the barbell. Like squatting, deadlifting, military presses, bench pressing. I never did that before in the gym. Understanding the basics of form and using dumbbells, hip thrusting, of course, because you want that booty, core stuff, things like that. And then once I had that foundation, we started using the barbell, and that has been amazing. So she definitely helped me with learning the form for stuff with the barbell. It was more strength focused, meaning progressively increasing your weight over time as you maintain good form. So that's what I do now, and it's been a lot of fun. And I definitely have seen results. So yeah, as far as dieting, no, I don't diet. I just try to hit my protein goals, and I try, basically that's my main thing that I focus on, is hitting my protein goals and trying to eat more healthy than non-healthy. Okay, this video is so long. Okay, so last question I'm gonna do, because otherwise this is gonna be even longer than it is what was your get yourself together moment for your career? So I think that was, and I think I've shared this before too, but the moment that I was like, Steph, get your shit together, otherwise none of this is gonna mean anything. I think that I've always had a very strong work ethic, mainly because of my childhood, what I went through during my quote unquote high school years. That taught me a lot of discipline and structure and work ethic, and so that's kind of just like a part of me that is just who I am now. So I've never had an issue with that necessarily, because I've gone through other situations before of extreme discipline and stuff like that. So I think when I had to like tell myself, hey, you need to get serious about, for me it was getting serious about taking the CPA exam. That was when I was like, okay, I really need to get serious and really, you know, like, this is a very big part of my career, is being a CPA, because that opens the doors for me to explore other avenues in my career, and it did. So it was after a really bad busy season, which I'll link videos to that if you want to hear that story. One of the worst busy seasons I've ever experienced before, and I realized like, hey, you just worked 7-ish months working your ass off. That is not going to matter if you don't have your CPA. Like, I would have gone through that, and my experience here would have been for nothing if I didn't get my CPA. That's how I felt, because I felt like Big Four experience plus your CPA is a good springboard for what you want to do for the rest of your career. To pursue those things, I would definitely recommend it, and if you want to, of course. So I think that was the moment when I was just like, you know, I was burned out. I could tell that the Big Four was not for me, but then I was like, I don't want to quit without having this first. And also I was about to elapse on the bonus period. There's a period of time where the Big Four would give bonuses for passing the CPA exam. Oh, bless you. You're okay, honey. You're okay. You want me to hold you? I'll finish the story. I gotta hurry up and finish this because Juicy needs me. So that was my get yourself together moment in my career. You know, I just had to apply the same self-discipline that I was applying at work to my studying. You know, I knew that if I didn't do it, that, you know, there would never be a point in my life where everything would just be so easy for me to be able to take the CPA exams. Anyways, thank you guys so much for all the questions. This was fun talking to you guys. If you like, you know, these types of videos, please let me know and leave some questions in the comments so that I can, you know, have another video for you guys like around this. Any topics you want me to delve into a little bit more, let me know as well. Yeah, so thank y'all so much for watching. I hope you have a great week. Stay safe, stay healthy, and stay positive, and I'll see y'all in my next video. All right. We're gonna film. Okay, you wanna sit down? You wanna sit down so we can film a video real quick? What do you think, Juicy? Juicy's right there. I'm gonna sneeze. And you've seen this? Okay, she's just laying there. I guess she doesn't want to be on camera today. To be able to, I would look for, okay, so background first. So anyways, or is even, you know, where they do the, order to cash, or C2C cash to, I know, so, I may not be able to do all of these questions because